stood there and the house fell down on it.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's part of the tradition of movies. But I do think that same kind of energy, that feeling you get when you're going to go on the stage is something that you've got to have in the theater. In movies, it's set up, it's like this. Movies are like a tightrope walker, only he's walking on a wire, which is painted on the floor. Big difference in walking on a wire that's going across these balconies. And that's the difference. The theater, the wire is up there. In the movies, it's on the floor. So what's the difference? Think of it. I mean, when you're walking on a wire that high, something happens to you. There's no going back again. On the floor, you cannot fall. That's the take, right? That's the film. It's like, okay, let's do it again. Oh, I started wrong. I want to go back again. But in the theater, once you start, that's it. I mean, it's like a plane when it's on the runway, and then there's the point of no return. There it goes. That's the theater. Now that causes you to have an excitement. That causes your body to change. The very chemicals in your body change. The adrenaline is different. And this is a kind of habitual thing. It becomes a habit. You become addicted to theater if you've done it enough, because you get addicted to that excitement. You get addicted to that adrenaline rush. You get addicted to the point of no return.
But there are so many movie actors who you know, and they're very good, but they won't do live theater because that risk, the danger, that's just too scary.
Well, you got to be sort of. That's got to be part of your makeup, though. You know, I mean, there's risks in movies too. In the end, Richard, I think it's just about lifestyle. I think it's about what we prefer to do, not about courage. I remember talking to Marlon Brando about it when I was doing Buffalo in England, and Marlon and I were in the same house together. And he says, "Where you going?" I said, "I got to go to the theater." He goes, He says, "How do you do it?" I said, I couldn't tell him how. Here's our greatest actor. Was our greatest actor. Still is forever and ever, no matter where he is. And he doesn't want to go on stage. I wish I could have one time in my life sat down with him and really talked to him about it. People have talked to him about it, but I would have liked to have talked to him about it. And I can understand why. Because he did it, and for some reason, that experience was not the way he wanted to express himself. He wanted to express himself another way. And he had a great love of Shakespeare. As a matter of fact, that's all he would say on the set. He would quote Shakespeare. He would go on and on about it. I wish somebody had filmed it. Because, not in Godfather, I'm not talking about Godfather, I'm talking about in other places. People have told me how he would do it. But I would have liked, if I regret anything, is not having sat down with Marlon and talked to him about acting on stage. You know, I mean, since it was stage acting that got me started, since it was why I'm still here, is this sort of excitement that came when I had to go on stage, where I was challenged in that way, and I was asking of myself to go through this thing without dying, because you do think you're going to die before you go on. I mean, it's very close to it.
You still feel that?
You still feel that. You still feel that you would rather be doing anything else but this. Yeah. This is about the worst thing that could possibly be happening to you. Not so much for me anymore, thank God, Richard, but opening nights maybe it could be a little shaky, but not so much anymore.
Yeah. It's interesting to me also that you have such passion for theater, that so much of your heart is committed to theater. But you finally said, if there's going to be a record for now and forever, then I have to make a movie out of this. That was the decision.
Well, I'm a movie actor too.
Yes.
I am.
Yeah.
And I have found that movie acting has got its own reward, and it's got its own function, and its own expression, and its own value. And the value's different than the theater. And the thing is, what will bring the theater and the movies together? What will make that hybrid of film and theater so that same eclectic or that same that same kinetic that happens on the stage when you see really wonderful dialogue being bantered and something happening from it. How can that be carried forth to the film? And just getting them together, and that's what I've been trying to do. And sometimes it fails. We can't make it. And sometimes, as like, Glengarry Glen Ross, for instance, I thought Jamie Foley made it. See, it's important, I think, to have in a film like that everything working. That is the casting, that is the camera, that is the lighting, that is the sound, and the direction. Because for some reason in Glengarry Glen Ross, no matter what, you got a sense that something was up.
Well, when do you think Mrs. Nyborg might be back?
The clock was ticking. You could hear the faucet dropping. And you wondered, what's going on?
Yeah.
Somebody is interested in something, so I'm going to pay attention to this. And I thought Jamie managed to do that. But I'm using Glengarry as an example because Glengarry is a play of language. It's got David Mamet's wonderful, great dialogue, which has its own rhythm and cant.
So all this, you didn't actually call Graf. You didn't talk.
Not actually, no.
You didn't.
No, not actually.
Did you?
What did I say?
What did you say?
I said not actually. Fuck you care, George. We're just talking.
We are?
Yes.
Because,
It's not like movie dialogue, which is always naturalistic. This is speaking poetry.
It is a crime.
And you have to be careful as an actor not to get caught up in that, because pretty soon it's so delectable, it's so enticing, so seductive to get into that language and forget the very stuff that makes for good acting, which is communicating and being alive and personal, and so you have to be careful with that. And I thought Jamie was able to deal with that poetry. Your film is your music, and your words are your lyric. I recently did a film version of The Merchant of Venice, and what I steered away from in Merchant of Venice was doing it as a play. For a lot of reasons, I didn't do it as a play, but I'm glad I didn't, because when I went to do the film, I had not developed the theater habits, meaning the projecting to the third balcony. You have to. It's the way it's built. And so what happens is your choices as an actor, even if they're unconscious, are compensating for that. So when you go to do it on film, you're bringing with you what you've learned. Yeah. Of course, if you've done it long enough, it gets inside you, and you learn to reduce it and do it, for the frame.